Hello.
Hi, Lee.
Hi from
Hello.
280s. Hi.
Uh,
I'm all colourful today, very
You're
carnival.
looking good.
Thank
amazing. I'm Sue.
And
Hi, Sue.
I'm Lee. Lovely
Hi.
to catch up finally.
Good, good, good. You can hear me clearly.
Yeah, fine. Thank
Good,
you.
good, good, good.
Really, yes. But I mean, is that really Lee John? Or is
It's
it
the
just an illusion?
illusion. It's the real Lee John here.
Oh, that's amazing.
Lee,
Great to you to join us.
just to remind everyone, for the benefit of people that are watching, just to say what an amazing career you've had so far.
Oh, yes, yes. It's like next year it's going to be 40 years since Body Talk.
Wow. Oh, that's
So
amazing.
we're gonna, with everything clearing and balancing out, we should be doing quite a few different shows and a few special things. I've got three featured tracks I'm on. So
Brilliant.
yeah, so it's and then there's going to be a certain album. I'm going to be doing some acoustic shows, an evening with Leee John.
Oh, that
Oh,
sounds
when's that
good.
coming up, Lee?
Yeah, we're getting that planned for the early part of next year because by then venues will be ready and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and with all the social distancing and stuff. So we're planning that. So we're working on it now, and I'm literally finishing. What am I finishing? I'm finishing an album with Bill Sharp from Shack Attack.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that band.
Remember
That was a
Shack
great
Attack? That's a little light.
band. Yes.
Yeah, I know them really well. I know Bill a long time, and we started this album, I think, about 8 years ago or something like that. And we had one track on their album called Blue Savannah, called "Food and Love," beautiful song. And we said, okay, let's just do like a duet album or something. And then each year I do a track, and then we go off, and they say, let's finish this one, da 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 da. So we ended up with like 6 tracks. But now we've got about, with the lockdown, we've got about nine. So we're close to
Oh,
finishing the whole
brilliant.
album. Yeah, so we nearly finished the whole album.
Oh, great. That's something to
Oh,
look forward to, Lee.
Yeah, it's very
you sound,
smooth. It's very jazzy. It's funky. You'd love it. You can sit back, have a nice long glass of champagne or red wine or whatever you fancy.
love
You
Sounds
that.
know,
perfect, Lee.
a tequila sunrise like you had in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's
no,
it.
pina
Take
colada.
pina
Oh,
Pina
I
colada.
love
colada.
those.
Pina colada. And what was it? The wine used to have blue nun or Liebfraumilch.
Oh, yeah.
Remember those?
Do you remember that?
That was
Yeah.
And,
so sweet.
and pomaine. Do you remember pomaine?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. And Baby Sham as
Yeah,
well.
Baby Sham and Cherry B.
Those were the days.
Those were the days. I used to buy Concord sparkling wine.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
And it was a poor man's champagne. It was 99 pence. And they had them they were red. Well, one was red and one was in white,
Yeah.
and it was like a
Like,
champagne, but it tasted really cool.
yeah.
It's like my fake champagne.
I had
ah,
Lambrusco,
I used
which
to buy them. You have to buy them by the bottle. Concord
yeah.
sparkling wine.
That's it. I remember those days. And
And
back in the day, of course, Lee, you had all those top 10 hits, didn't you? You know, Just an Illusion, Music and Lights, and Body Talk. Such a big
flashback,
um,
what's
collection.
that?
flashback.
Flashback. Yeah, that's right.
And so, with all those hit tunes, and you've had a busy career, what's it like at the moment, Lee, to sort of be a
Extremely
little bit
busy.
quieter?
No, no, no. It's very, very busy. I mean, right now, I'm in my studio. So my studio, I'm literally hands on everything. So I've got my mic here, got my recording desk here, got my keyboards there. I've got another computer. I've been working on a film called Flashback, the history of UK black music for the last 8.5 years. The
Oh,
first
right.
one, yeah, it's the history of UK black music from the turn of the century. So basically, when people started coming over to the UK, so we touch on classical music, we touch on opera, we touch on jazz, we touch on all the way from the 1900s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whoever's alive now.
Yeah.
So we've been
Oh,
interviewing over 100 artists. So on my other computer, we've
wow.
been working on that. So we have like the 80s is phenomenal. I've got people that you wouldn't believe, and some people in the 70s, some people in the 60s, even some people who were famous in the 50s. I've managed to interview.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I
So it's
Oh,
remember I interviewed you about 3, 4 years ago when you released Retropia, the album.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Working on that then. You were very heavily into that then. It's been a
Well,
it's Some of the
It's been crazy.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, it's going to be a 10-part series, and we recently edited the 60-minute, 66 kind of promotional thing for the film festivals. It's taken a lot of time, and because in between my touring and my recording, it's been, it's putting it together as well, because it's not just like we're going to put it on the BBC or ITV. This is something for the whole international.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
and you've had the likes of Eddie Grant as well, haven't you? Been working with
yes, yes.
and
Eddie Grant was
Campbell.
in there. Yeah, I knew Eddie Grant from when I was at school, because
Oh wow,
I was going to Highbury Grove School, and he had a studio in Osbaldeston Road in Stoke Newington. And
yeah,
when I was in school, myself and a few friends of ours, we went there to say, look, we can sing, we can do it. And he was saying, you got something, but not yet. But even so, I would say maybe 2 years before Body Talk, there was a club called the Q Club in Paddington. I don't know if you remember the Q Club. And a lot
I
of these
No.
American artists. Well, I was a
yeah,
support. I was in so many bands in the early days.
yeah,
I was learning all my how to do it. Getting the roots
yeah.
of it all. And I did a support. And I remember Eddie came backstage to see me after my show. And that's way before Body Talk. And he remembered me because he knew my sister. And he was saying, you've got something there. He was always very, very encouraging.
Oh,
Yeah, because he's had an amazing career as well with Electric Avenue in the 80s and all
Yes,
those great
yes,
songs.
yes, yeah. And the
Yeah,
60s with the Equals, Baby
the
Come Back.
Eagles, Let's
Yeah,
Go to the Moon and all those
yeah.
ones.
exactly. And
I love.
I went to Electric Avenue, and they did a special, put a plaque on there for him in Brixton. I
Oh,
think it was
oh
a
Oh,
wow!
year ago. Yeah,
I
yeah.
must go. You
brilliant.
must go to that.
Go down
But
to Brixton.
thanks so much for taking part in our Simply the Best challenge today, Lee. We really appreciate you taking part. We
No
thought it'd be fun
problem.
to find out all the best things that you love about life.
No,
No.
I'm here.
See,
I've got it all written down as well. I've got a few things you said to me. I've got them right there. I know
lovely.
what you
Oh, brilliant.
said.
Are you ready? You're ready to
I'm
go.
ready. Ready, steady, go.
What's your favourite song of the 80s that's not your own?
One of my favorite songs of the 80s, and the reason why, because the production was fantastic, and it represents to me the 80s as far as the production level, and it was like the signature tune and it was produced by Trevor Horn. It was sung by Grace Jones, and it was Slave to the Rhythm.
Oh yes. Oh
The
yeah.
production
Great.
was like, the whole album was one song. And because by the time that record came, all the drum machines, all the different synthesizers, all the different, all the products we were using were all in this album. Fake drums, real drums, it was
So
everything
in
was in this
Trevor
album.
Hall.
It's like, yeah, Trevor Horn. And
Yeah.
Trevor
So
Horn,
innovative.
actually, I met him when I was very young, just before Body Talk, and I did a track with him called Got to Be Good. And that's the record I took to the record company that got me the deal.
Oh,
Oh,
fantastic.
Mm.
Oh, there we are. And so, moving on to the next one, the best thing about growing up, Lee, in the retro years. So, what was so good about growing up back in the day?
I remember the things I liked were, I had a cassette machine, a Panasonic cassette machine, and I
Oh, yeah.
remember I'd be putting my cassettes in and singing along on the underground, and the echoes of the underground station, and
yeah.
Yeah.
and you'd hear that bang 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 bang, that kind of funny noise and stuff, and I'd always have my music, and it was great times, and I remember. I didn't really have fears. There were problems going around, but I didn't have any fears. I used to love going down to the George Canning pub in Brixton where I used to perform. I lived in Finsbury Park, and I go from Finsbury Park to Brixton, and I'd be on the stage with the Sun Valley Serenaders. We'd play reggae, calypso, soul,
Mm,
funk, and it was a
Fantastic.
great learning ground for me.
yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Third question. What's your best toy? From,
My best toy, and I still get them from fans, are teddy bears.
Oh, oh,
did you have a favourite one? Have you had one?
Oh yeah, I got one recently. I went on the Orient Express, and I was given an Orient
wow.
Express, one of those teddy with the
Yeah,
uniform and stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
brilliant.
and have you got, I mean, there were lots of sweets around to choose from in those days, Lee, but
Mm.
was there a favourite sweet that you used to buy in the sweet shop?
And the sweet I like, and I still like, and I still love, and I still buy are pear drops.
Oh,
Ah,
yes. Yeah, a quarter. I
I
used to
like,
get them in
I
a
like,
quarter.
yeah, and I still like cola cubes and pineapple chunks and sherbet pips. And
Yeah.
what's the other one they used to have? They had the cough ones as well
um,
Oh, cotton
occasionally.
cough
candy.
Yeah,
candy.
cough candy,
Yeah,
yeah. And
They
yeah,
hurt the roof of your mouth, don't
I
they?
know, yeah, they do.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
remember things like that and going way back, Jubblies and ice
Oh
poles.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, they were lovely, weren't they?
Right. Question 5. What's your favourite 80s movie? So many to choose
Wow.
from.
There were loads, there were loads, there were loads, there were loads. But something really heavy and very deep, and I thought was The Color Purple.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, great film.
yeah.
Very, very,
Whoopi
very
Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg,
Yeah,
yeah, because she'd done
Yeah.
all this comedy, and I've seen her all this thing and playing action heroes and stuff, and all of a sudden there she was, completely bare, and it was such a
mm,
touching film, and the music, and the ending when she meets her sister at the end, oh, I shouldn't tell you
yeah,
guys if you
No,
haven't seen it, but you have to see it.
yeah.
Beautiful, and they've
That's
made it into a
fantastic.
musical, and it was very, and it touched me a great deal.
brilliant. And going on to a more light notes or embarrassing moments that you talk about over dinner and get quite a few laughs from, Lee.
I've had loads. I've had loads and loads and loads. I remember the one I was going to say tell you, but I remember something else. I remember we had a song called "Burning Up," and one time we went on stage. I used to do loads of costume changes, and I had this thing I used to call. What did I used to call it again? I used to call it. It was this thing I used to throw it around me or what have you, and spin and spin and spin. The one time the what do you call it? The pot things.
Class, the
Yeah, when
class.
it
Yeah.
exploded
Oh
and
no,
exploded around me, and I was on fire, too burning
Oh,
up. And I was dancing, 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 not knowing I was on fire. And all of a sudden, the girls were like, literally, the backing singers were like saying, "Look, look, look!" And I'm thinking, "What?" So I literally was spinning and spinning to try and get the thing off, as I'm
and
trying
it
like,
made
oh
and
my
I threw it
goodness.
off. Yeah,
oh
yeah,
no.
that
I
was
bet the
that was an
audience thought
experience.
that was a planned thing, did they?
Exactly, it was.
And then you
That
do
was
it
one
next
time.
time.
That was hysterical. And there's been some times where, and I'm sure many male performers have this, where you go on stage, or I've done a costume change or something, and your flies are undone.
Oh,
Oh,
And you're singing
that's
something
it.
really sweet. I'm singing in the heat of the night, and then someone said to me, "I can see your night."
Oh,
And
brilliant.
so yeah, and so
Yeah,
that's a funny one. That is a
yeah.
funny one.
so
And what I tend to do is I turn around so the band can see me pulling my zip up, so they are really
there,
pissing themselves
so they
laughing.
laugh.
The bass player, the guitar, they're going, oh,
They
that
capture everything now on social media, don't they, Lee? But
exactly, yeah,
probably
yeah.
back in the day, you got away with these things, didn't you?
I know, but now there's like anything, you've got to be so right. I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
They might not have been the best moments of your career, but what would you say has been the best moment of your career so far? If you can pin it down to one moment.
I've had many experiences. I had to think about that because there's a lot, and they're all varied because I've had such a varied career from being a performer, from being a director, from producing, from being an acting and
Yes.
stuff. I did Doctor Who, and I've done some subsequently. I played a lawyer in a film recently.
Uh-huh.
I've done loads of different things, and also, but I had to sit back and I thought, what was a memorable moment that you think was groundbreaking and life changing? And I would say the day we were told that we were going to go on Top of the Pops and perform Body Talk. I would say
Oh,
because that
Yeah.
set because that meant that the audiences really loved your music, and that meant you were going to have this opportunity and your life will change forever. And I think that is groundbreaking because for me personally, my life changed right after that.
didn't
Oh,
I
thank
think when I spoke to you last about that moment, I think you did. Was there a time when they tried to get hold of you for Top of the Pops and you couldn't
No, I was
contact
down
you?
Tottenham. I was in down Tottenham High Road. I'd left
Yeah.
home because the record was doing really well. It was on number one in all these different charts and stuff. And I remember it was really hot, and I was just shopping and stuff like that, walking down the road. No mobiles then. I mean, they had the massive big thing, and I thought, I'm not going to have any of that. I'll never have a mobile. You know, here we are now. You know,
Yeah.
one, two. And I was walking down. I got to Durban Road where I lived, and I had someone rushing to me saying, Lee, where have you been? The phone is off the hook. They've been trying to get hold of you. And then I had the producers and everyone calling me, and my record company was saying, where are you? Da, da, da. And I was the one that lived all the way at the end, all the way. So every time
Yeah.
we dropped Ashley off or Errol off, they got in home quicker than I did. So I was the last one. So they were saying, we need it, we need it, we don't know if we're going to get it, we may be getting it. Da, da, da. I said, well, are we going to do it or not? Everybody was going crazy. And then I said, well, do we have it or not? Yes, I think we have it. I said, okay, that was Ellis Elias, one of the directors. That's how we would go. I think we've got it. I don't think we've got it. And then it went crazy. It was like, what are you going to wear? Da, 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 what's going to be the image? Da, da, da. And luckily, I was sharing a house with a fashion designer, a friend of mine, and another schoolmate. So it was like Tom Brown's School Days. It was very, very funny. And he had a room of all his clothes and stuff. So I was always nicking things, or he was giving me stuff to wear. And we went to High Street Kensington Market, which was one of my favorite places at the time. Catherine Hamlet, she used to be there. You had Hyper, I think, across the road. And a lot of designers, even Vivienne Westwood had little, stalls and stuff in there. So you got a lot of original stuff. So I think half of the stuff we got from there, and he designed some bits, and the thing I wore, which was a soiree, they called it a soiree, which I had my legs out, and it was kind of like, I looked like Sabu from Arabian Nights or something like that. It was like, we always had a theme. Everything was a theme, at that time.
You had a very theatrical look, Lee. There were so many costumes that you used to wear, so many outfits. But
nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. Nothing. My wardrobe is very expansive. Is that word? Extensive, I should say. Yeah, nothing's changed. I love clothes. I think, and funny enough, my mother said I get it from my dad, because my dad's wardrobe was, he had leather shoes made from Panama, hats and all that. He was like very, very slick guy. So I probably get it from my mum is the same, and my sister was, well, I think our family is music, clothes, all of that, appearances. It's just Aleutian blood,
Oh, it's fantastic. And then on to the next question. Have you got a favourite motto or philosophy in life that you can share with the Choose 80s viewers?
Yes, I do. My motto, which I say to everybody, is let every moment count.
Oh,
it really now, actually,
and it's relevant now, and there's one I say to people who, when they have, like, especially when, like, for example, I was speaking to my goddaughter. She's like a daughter to me, and I speak to her a lot about things, and I said, what the thing about it is, believe in yourself, then others will believe in you. And that's something I keep in my mind. Believe in yourself and others will believe in you. And the more you believe, then others will believe. And that's what happens, because if you show doubt in what you're doing, then other people will doubt you because you're not confident in it. So that's important. So that, and let every moment count, which is so important right now, because we don't know what tomorrow will bring. So let's take the opportunity and enjoy the life,
Brilliant advice. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that.
There's one more question. What's your favourite musician or band? I know there's lots to choose from.
In the 1980s. Well, oh gosh. I had a load written down because it was like kind of crazy. I think to epitomize the 80s, when I think of who I wanted to work with the most in the 80s, it would be Quincy Jones. Because Quincy Jones was the producer. You thought you couldn't get any higher at that time than Quincy Jones, because he had such with Michael Jackson and everybody, it was like, wow, and I even remember, even before that, he had his own albums, stuff like that. I used to be into, what makes you feel like doing stuff like that. I love that song. I'd get down to it. And he worked with Shaka Khan and the Brothers Johnson, Stomp, all that. Yeah, I did all that. And Donna Summer he did as well,
Did you get to work with him, Lee? Quincy Jones?
I managed to meet him briefly, but never to work with him. I got to work with quite a few different people that were in the industry that some people knew. For example, back in the day, we had a thing called vinyl. Which
Yes.
Vinyl.
actually, from the Retropia side, which you should get, we have a Retropia on vinyl.
Yeah.
Oh, and
There you
actually,
go.
I've got.
So if you go online, you'll be able to order
Oh,
Retropia on vinyl. See,
oh, I should order
going
that
back
because
in the day,
I've
and I'm
got
going
one
to be.
back in the day, Lee.
There you go. I love that coat. I love that coat. I lost that in Singapore, in actual fact.
Oh, that's a shame. It's lovely.
Yeah, I left
Oh,
it in the hotel room.
oh, oh no.
When
Oh,
you're
I bet.
leaving to get to the airport and you
Oh,
you think you've
yes.
got everything.
You're rushing to get there.
Rush
Oh,
there, and I left that I remember I left it in a hotel room, and somebody said, "Oh, we can't send it back. It's going to cost too much
Oh,
money." So I
a
said,
shame.
"Well, have it."
There's a happy person out there wearing your jacket now, Lee.
There's a few people with a few of my clothes, believe
oh,
me.
that's
Some of the
Really?
outfits from way back, Some of them are
Oh,
in museums and all that kind of stuff, and we gave some to charity. I
oh,
know there's a fan who has my one-legged glitter outfit I wore on Top of the Pops, and he
ah,
oh,
gave it to charity.
yeah, remember
He's
that.
Stevenage, yeah, he's got that. I had a few one-legged things. They've all gone to charity. I don't know where the hell they are. I know one. That's about it.
We'll probably see
oh.
you.
I've got a few upstairs, but some my mum had in a case somewhere which disappeared. But
You'll have to do a music catwalk session, Lee, to your music. Sort of do a big catwalk session with all your different outfits.
well, I'd rather get some of the younger people to do it. I think I'd come out at the very end, but I think I'd probably get some of the younger. I think for next year, that's one of the things we're going to do. We're thinking of maybe getting some younger artists collaborating with us or doing some imagination music.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, because we've got a lot of DJs and a lot of singers that they love the music, not just from this country, but all around the world, in America and stuff.
Yeah.
Because we've had Mariah Carey, she did Just an Illusion, but she changed it to Kind of Get Your Number. Destiny's Child on their first album did Just an Illusion with Wyclef Jean.
That's
And
right.
yeah, Jay-Z. Some people have done So Good, So Right. There's a French artist that did Music and Lights. And also in South Africa, there was a big rapper 3 years ago. He got to #2 with Music and Lights. Did a whole rap on it. And I
Wow.
got him on
A
stage.
lot of the youngsters will be familiar with your music, Lee, then.
Who was that? Sorry.
I'm saying a lot of the youngsters are probably more familiar with your music than you'd imagine because they've probably heard it through those different rappers and
Yeah,
different,
yeah, because they sample them, and like Burning
yeah.
Up. I know everybody says it's one of the very first house records ever. All the Chicago house DJs
Mm.
say that the Burning Up was with the piano, the dun 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 was that kind of thing, and so it's great. But I've done so many variety of styles and music of the last 3 decades, I should say.
Yeah.
So from jazz, I had a #1 reggae track with Police and the Thieves in the reggae charts, which I never had before, which was
Yeah.
which is fun for me. And recently, we dug out from the vaults The Art of Love, Part 1, Part 2, which
Oh, right.
had Snowboy on it, the percussion player, and it's very retro. Did you hear The
Yeah.
Art of Love?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I heard it.
So
It's so soothing and relaxing. You can just imagine lying on a beach with a cocktail in your hand, listening to it. I loved it.
exactly. And it was done in EMI Studios in Highbury, and it was where Queen used to do stuff. I mean, it doesn't exist anymore. And I had real strings, real horns, and a great arranger on it. And Snowboy was fantastic on the percussion, and it was just so epic and so long in its whole thing. I didn't think we could put it out, and so it stayed in the can, and then. We have a guy that works on my merchandise, we call him Steve the Greek, and he's on Crackers Radio. Give them a shout. And he got a copy of it and gave it to another DJ, and they started playing it on the underground. So all of a sudden, I started having people asking me about this track. So finally, when I changed the distribution for Retropia to Believe Distribution, which is a much bigger company, and I then added it to it, and then I was asked about putting it on vinyl. So it's on vinyl as well, The Art of Love.
Ah,
Has that come out, Lee, on vinyl?
Yes, it is. It is on vinyl. Hold on 1 second. Stay right there. You can see my legs coming up. Hold on 1 second. 1 second.
We've got a few quick fire questions next, haven't we, Lee? So that should be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Ready to go,
If
Lee.
you want to get, this is The Art of Love on vinyl.
Cool.
Ooh. I love vinyl. There's such a resurgence now for vinyl, isn't there? I think it's really popular again.
It is, and I'm actually compiling now a special Retropia remix bonus album, and on this album is going to have remixes of some of the tracks from Retropia and bonus tracks. There's some really, really interesting stuff on it. So, and actually, in fact, we're getting it together in the next couple of weeks, and that's gonna be going out. In America, there's a lot of vinyl junkies, really, really heavy.
We'll look out for that because we're vinyl junkies too, Lee.
Nothing beats the sound of vinyl.
No.
That little record thing, you know, I still love listening to the very ending of the record, you know, like with that last ad lib. And even when I'm recording, for me, I always wanted to make the last bit of what I'm singing intense so that the listener is listening and you're with me, you know, we're crescendo.
Yeah, right to the end, yeah.
Look
so forward to that, Lee. Brilliant.
Oh, thanks so much for taking part in Simply the Best. We just got a few either or questions, really quick ones, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Just say the first answer that comes to your head. You ready? Okay.
Okay, right. Cats or dogs, Lee?
Cats.
Beach or countryside?
Beach.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Pepsi or Coke?
Neither.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Spicy or mild?
Spicy.
Saver or spender?
Spender.
Comedy or drama?
Both.
Ska or reggae? This is going to be a hard one for you, Lee.
Both.
Both. I'd agree. Agree.
And finally, it's a difficult one. The Birdie song or Agadoo?
Pass. Beep. Pass. Beep. It's just as bad as the was it the Goombay Dance Band? When everybody talks to me about the Goombay Dance Band, who got to number one when we were number two. Yeah, exactly. When people say the Goombay Dance Band, the Birdie song, beep.
Thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's a lovely day today. It's really nice.
Oh, it is. We look forward to seeing everything you've been telling us about. We've been catching up with you with your NHS fundraiser and on pop quiz. You've been so busy.
I know, every week. I'm doing Channel 5 next week. I'm doing what am I doing? I'm doing some, I can't remember what it's actually going to be a little bit about the 80s and some of the stuff we talked about today, but more in depth. And then I'm doing something the week after. But since the lockdown, every week I've been doing some stuff for the charities and stuff like that. And I did a show in France, which went out to, what was it, 10 million people. I was performing here, which was quite interesting. Yeah, it was like, wow. And it went out to France, Switzerland, Belgium, and all the French territories.
Oh, incredible, Lee. So you're bringing a lot of fun and entertainment to people during this time. It's a difficult time.
Oh, yeah, it's a very difficult time, but I think, you know, it's important. I think we have a duty as entertainers to entertain and let people escape through us. You know, we're vessels and they should escape through us and enjoy a little bit of music and lights, you know?
Oh, we certainly are. We certainly are. Thank you so much, Lee. Have a lovely rest of the day.
And you too.
Catching up with you soon.
Peace, love, and light. All the best. Lots of love.
Bye. See you.